Shoot.
I know. Don't you just love Andrew and Beth? Like, oh my goodness, they're so fun as you get going along. And then I'll show you eventually like some of their YouTube interviews and stuff where they're just saying thank you to their Patreon donors and things like that, and wanting to get feedback. And they are also working with Angela to create Alpha with Angela, the Greek version of it and everything. Anyway, they're so fun. I just love them.
But you can see the spirit radiating in them.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that their premise is all about making it free. Anytime that they're doing anything, they're always emphasizing it. Like, whatever you do to build up the kingdom, make it free. Like, don't be charging for that kind of stuff or whatever. And that's like their whole thing is about giving freely and then letting the Lord take care of you in whatever way. Very Zionistic principles. Anyway, so with that, every time that we watch a lesson for the first time, we're just going to kind of let it sink in. We won't really talk about it too awful much. So let's take that, what we just kind of learned and are kind of wrestling through, and let's go back to lesson 1 and take a look at some of these words as they're written out. So, I mean, it's kind of a quiz, but I mean, kind of not. But taking what we've learned about the alphabet and going through and seeing these. So if you've read the lesson scripts or done like the quizzes that they provide, that's where I'm taking these from. But so this, if we're sounding it out, that aleph is silent and it has a patah, and then a yod with a dagesh. So aye. In our learning there in both videos, she uses that extensively. Aye. Aye means where. Aye hapar. Where is the bowl? This one, I think it's always important to like make sure that we go back and sound things out so that we can get quicker at sight reading and things. And so here we have the ayin, which is silent, and the tere, and then the zayin. So is a very difficult word to to pronounce. It's kind of in the back of the throat, that guttural. You're kind of closing off the back of the throat to try to push this sound out. Is, and that is a goat. And here we have the pay with the beauty mark dagesh. So it's part of the beged kefetz. It's going to have the hard plosive sound. So if we're looking at the pay and trying to decide if it's a pay or a fey, that dagesh has the plosive. So this is para. So an interesting thing to note with the resh is sometimes it's trilled like the Spanish or Latin, and sometimes it's kind of the guttural closing off of the throat. So para versus para. Here we have zot. Did anyone pick up what this meant in the videos? Zot. What does she mean when she says zot? Zot is zot hamor. Zot is the female.
Yeah.
Yeah, feminine. So ze is masculine, zot is feminine. So the two examples that I just gave are wrong. Ze ze hamor, zot is. And this one is gadol, meaning big or large. Here we have the donkey, which is hamor.
Okay, I don't like that donkey that she uses.
I know it doesn't quite look like a donkey.
Well, it doesn't, because that back ear,
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a unicorn the first time. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the donkey. It's not the unicorn.
Uh-huh. Like when I'm taking the quizzes or whatever, I always have to like stop anytime that there's like the Hamor one. I'm like, okay, now really pay
I don't
attention.
I know, I don't know if it's the angle she holds it at or something, but I always think it's a unicorn.
Yep. Hamor. And so one interesting of like the children's songs or whatever, the Shirim Rishonim that I listen to on iTunes, there's a Hahamor Hakatan, which is the little small donkey. Hahamor Hakatan. And so being able to kind of sight read that is how I actually found the song to begin with. I was like, oh, that looks like a word I know.
You
So
know,
mhm.
in the second video, it was just doing, you know how you do if something's really tiny or something's really big, you say, but I thought I learned it as mayod, but she's not saying the M like
Uh-huh.
I is she?
Yeah, it's Mayod.
Is it mayod? I didn't think she was
So
saying
if we're
It's the accent.
yeah,
I guess.
so if we're just kind of like spelling it in English, it would be the MEOD, Mayod.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what
it,
I
it
was
begins with that.
thinking, but okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing with like Zoom and stuff. Like sometimes the audio might like kind of cut out or not be able to tell totally. So like I encourage everyone to like go and watch these videos on your own computer and stuff and turn up the volume so you can like hear the enunciation that she's doing. Because that might not be coming through on the Zoom call.
I couldn't hear the M part. But
Mayod. All
yeah.
right, so this one, is this a man or a woman? If we're sounding this out, Ish, Sha, Isha. So this would be woman.
Woman.
Mhm.
And then this one's going to be kind of a tricky one because the kuf, the beginning letter there, is toward the very end of our alphabet. So we might not be as familiar or as comfortable with it as we are with the others, but it starts off with a kuf and then it ends with a nun sofit. So that nun dropped its tail because it's at the end. And so this word is katon, katon. And so there's gadol, which is big, and katon, which is tiny or small. But even tinier would be katon meod.
Yeah. I always say
Oh, okay. I was wondering if that's what it was.
Mhm.
Also, I wanted to ask is,
Mhm.
because she did male, like the male group, the female group, and then the male and female. If I was understanding correctly, is that also like Spanish, where if it's male and female, it's the same as male?
Yeah, it defaults to the male if you have groups. Yeah, exactly like Spanish. So
Okay.
if you're only talking about a group of women, then you're going to use the feminine form in the plural. But if you're talking about a group that includes men and women, then it defaults to the masculine.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what I thought I was getting, but I wanted to double check.
Mhm. All right, and then this one, if the first few times through the video, I didn't even catch that she even said this, and it was in the vocab list. And I'm like, all right. So yafe. So this pay doesn't have its plosive dagesh sound, and so it turns into the softer f sound. Yafe.
Said
Yafe.
that quite a bit. Doesn't that mean like correct?
So it means beautiful or pretty or
Okay.
they use it in place of or to signify like, oh, you did a beautiful job.
That's
Mhm.
right. We talked about that because I said the British say brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it can refer to a person or an object, you know that is beautiful, but it can also be like, oh, beautiful job.
Okay.
Yeah. So she'll say tov, which means good. Yafe means beautiful, and so sometimes it's tov meod, like really good. Sometimes it's yafe meod, that's really beautiful, kind of thing. You'll see
Okay.
certain combinations starting to pop up. Here we have the one vocab word that has the stress on the first syllable. It's one of the exceptions, and this is keves, which is sheep. Ma means what? Ma ele, or ma ze. I'm defaulting to the second lesson already. I need to go back to the first lesson vocab. Ma ze, or we haven't learned Mashem, have we? Okay, never mind. Sometimes I get confused with all the lessons. They all blend together after a little bit. But Ma means what? Can you hear my dog slurping in the background? I don't know how to tell her to be. Here we have.
Whenever she says maze, that makes me, it sounds Brazilian to me, like that Portuguese. Maze, yeah, that's what I think of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here we have par, which means bull. Sus, which means horse, specifically masculine horse. So I don't even really know my English as well. I know that a female horse is a mare. What do you call a male horse? Just a horse?
I think so.
A stud
Or
horse
stud, it could be a stud, but I think a stud.
is specifically to like as a donor, right? I don't know.
It's a gilding. They're called
Yeah.
a gilding.
Oh, that's right, a
Oh,
gelding, yeah,
Okay, sweet.
that's right.
That is one that has not been had its cut off. A
Yeah,
gilding. Yeah,
Yeah, I think as a stud, well, no.
that
no.
is full on. They can breed. They are a gilding. It's been neutered. So a
Okay.
male in that.
We call our dogs its after that.
They're gilding. Horses are gildings.
Gotcha. Yeah, I see. I think I kind of knew that, but yeah, if you would have put a test to me, I would have never came up with that word on my own.
I couldn't swipe over quick enough to get to where I could unmute me.
Yep. So sus is the masculine of horse, so a gilding. Susa would be the mare, the female. Then we have tov. So as we go on, there's going to be lots
And
of.
you know, a baby horse is a foal, right?
Yeah. Well, how do
Then there's the teenage
pronounce that
horse,
again?
the colt.
A foal.
foal? Oh,
FOAL.
okay.
Yeah, foal.
Or
Foal,
like
but
a
then-
Frog. Yeah.
A little girl one is a filly and a
Yeah, filly and
boy one is a colt.
colt, but that you can call them a foal when they're first born. They're just a foal.
Oh,
And then when they're like a teenager, they're a colt.
The filly and a colt. Yeah. Filly's a girl. Boy's
Yep.
colt.
See, I don't even know English. Why am I diving into another language? This is crazy. I love it. It's always hilarious, some of the nuances, and I'm like, oh, wow, I learned English while I was learning Hebrew too. Yeah, so this word tov is going to take on some different meanings as I think it's like lesson 12 and 13 that it starts really changing and adapting and stuff. But tov, you're going to want to start recognizing this one and sight reading it, because it's going to pop up all over the place. As you're going through the Bible, there's so many things that are described as good, especially there in Genesis, right?
Right.
Tov, Tovah, Tovim, lots of different. And here we have the man or husband, Ish, Ze, and so this is the masculine, and Zot is the feminine for this. And so this would be Maze. That would ask, what is this? Maze or Mazot? If you know that the object that you're referring to is feminine, you can say Mazot. And so,
But if you don't want to give it away, then you say.
yeah, if you don't want to give it away and you want to remain general, then Maze. But yeah. So, yeah, sometimes the language is a little bit jarring, especially when you're in full immersion and stuff. So make sure to go and watch lesson 2 over and over again. We'll at least spend one more week on it, and we'll ask next week how much time people want to keep going on it. So the recommended structure that Andrew and Beth have come up with is that you typically watch a video once just listening, and then you hurry and rewatch it and try to repeat after them the second time. And then you let that kind of sit and marinate for a couple of days. And then you come back and do the same thing. Watch it twice, the first time just listening, the second time repeating, but then you hurry and go on to the next video just listening. And so it's kind of like the snowball effect. So you're watching lesson 1 and 2, and then pretty soon you're watching lesson 1, 2, and 3. And then when you want to move on to 4 and you feel like you've kind of graduated from lesson 1, you can kind of keep a good mix of like 2, maybe 3 videos that you're kind of popping back and forth between, kind of learning the principles. And then every once in a while, you'll go back to lesson 1 and you're like, oh, I'm actually catching some stuff that I didn't get the first few times that I went through. And just kind of bouncing back and forth. These videos aren't meant to be a strict graduation. Like as soon as you're finally feel comfortable with it, then move on. It's meant to be kind of played with a little bit. So anyway, we'll be coming back to lesson 1 and kind of revisiting some of that grammar later on and things, but that's why I introduced video 2 tonight. And then we'll kind of dive in and really hash some stuff out with lesson 2 next week. But then in future weeks, we'll come back to lesson 1 again and so forth. But any questions or comments or things that are we moving too fast? Are we moving too slow? How are you feeling with the language?
No, I just need to study more on my own.
Mm-hmm. I find flashcards are my best friend because it's like a tangible reminder. Like I have it at an easy place. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to review my vocab and stuff and keep doing it. Because like last week, I don't think I did any. And I went back and watched the current video that I was on again. And I'm like, oh, this is totally foreign. It just takes a lot of repetition, lots of study.
Did you, I know, I think I have it. You made a list of, see, I got my
Yes.
notebook with all my printouts. You made a list, didn't you, of, oh, that's backwards. What is it? Of the sight words?
Oh, yes. So like that deck of flashcards or whatever. Yeah.
Where is that?
So that is on Learning Zion.
Yeah.
Goodness,
I
I
thought
haven't been on Learning Zion for a week, so I say it's on there.
had it,
Open it. If not, I can put it on there and stuff. But throughout those different weeks, I was putting them.
So I must have it in here then.
Lesson. Okay, so here's how I've started naming the lesson. So Aleph Beth is our first round where we were just going through the alphabet. And then it switches and I put lesson 1 to match up with the actual name of the Aleph with Beth lessons. So under lesson 1, I've got a tab for vocab. And when you click into the vocab, then here's that chart that I'm going to just be printing out lesson by lesson so that the first vocab sheets that I was sending out, people were like, whoa, this is way too much. It was coming too fast, too heavy kind of thing. So here's just the things from each individual lesson so that you can just make those flashcards.
That's, and I have, okay, so you've already printed everything up and that would be different. And so I have to again.
So all of a sudden your microphone just kind of like sounded like it went underwater. I don't know.
Oh, that's what, is that better?
Oh, yep, there you go.
Okay, I had my notebook over my computer a little bit. So I already printed everything out and I printed it out about a month ago while I was here after Brazil. So I think is this new? I think this is new.
Yeah, this one's new just when we started Aleph with Beth, but I compiled the entire list earlier and I was starting to give them as we were doing the alphabet. But they were organized in kind of a weird way that nobody was really understanding. So
it was in a chart, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in.
Okay, I vaguely remember that, and I don't think I printed that. So this is in the Aleph with Beth section. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Hebrew lesson 1. Okay.
Yeah, so as you come to the Hebrew page of Learning Zion, you're going to scroll past all of the alphabets and just go to Hebrew lesson 1.
Okay.
And in that, then you're going to see our sessions, our vocab, and then the comprehensible input, which is the Prophet Noah had an ark, E-I-E-I-O song.
Is that the one it is the one you did.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if I go to week 2, Hebrew week 2, is there a vocab there? There's nothing there yet.
So I need to rename it so it's not week 2. We'll start doing lesson 2. And so we just barely introduced that tonight, and that's where I will start putting the vocab and everything this week.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's only one lesson that you would need to print out to be caught up, kind of a thing.
Because I have the flashcards for the alphabet, but I haven't done any vocabulary ones.
Yeah,
So,
those would be awesome ones to kind of quiz yourself on and keep sounding those out and everything.
mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody else already knew all that. I'm just a little slow.
Oh no, it seems like around like week 6 or 7 of our alphabet stuff or whatever, everybody's lives just like went crazy and everybody was going a million different directions. So we're just kind of like scrambling, coming back together and starting to watch these videos a little bit. So yeah, don't feel behind. I think everybody is feeling that way too. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
you know, life just happens sometimes and it gets kind of wild, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, that's why we film everything. So whenever anybody needs
No,
to
because
catch up.
I'm gonna go on a little vacation with my husband.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to the DR, Puerto
So fun.
Rico, and the Bahamas in a couple weeks. So I'll miss you guys.
Yeah.
I'll have to catch up and watch the video when we do that.
Yeah.
But I do watch them all.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna miss the earlier today. I totally forgot to start recording halfway through. So it's a little
Oh no.
uh,
So Laura, when she said she's too tired and she goes back to watch it, she'll miss it. She'll have to watch ours.
yeah, she'll have to watch ours.
Oh, my internet. Yeah, my internet's unstable, so you may not have heard me. I don't know why. It's
Yeah, it's kind of cutting out, but I heard most of it.
okay, sorry.
You're good. Any other final things before we head out for the night? If not, we'll see everyone next week for dive into lesson 2 and everything. But yeah, anyway, have a great week, everyone.
Hey,
Yeah.
Cameron, are you still recording?
Oh, I can stop it.